Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the Hearts Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. And today, listeners, we've got an exciting topic. We're going to be talking about how to magnetize soul love. So I've got a really fantastic guest around this subject. She's an expert in this area. Her name is Sreshtha Tewari. So welcome, Sheree.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
It's very, very exciting to welcome you on because I love this topic. Now, Sheree is a love coach, and she's going to tell us, first of all, a little bit about herself. What actually got you involved in this particular niche, Sheree?
Yes, Lynn. Well, I actually was married. I never dreamt of divorce. That was not my fairy tale, but after 13 years of marriage, I decided to end that marriage. Very heartbreaking and very painful, but seeing it as the best option for both myself and my daughter. In deciding to end the marriage, what happened to me is I went onto a self-development path, a personal development path, and I really started to understand more about myself, and it led me to do things I was always interested in but kind of held myself back on. So I was always interested in women's empowerment, and one of my friends, she was a wholeness coach, and I was really interested in that, and I asked her, how could I do that? So I took a course on being a wholeness coach. That course was with January Donovan, and after that course I ended up meeting another coach. Her name was Annie Lala, and she is a love coach, and she and her husband was offering another program, a virtual coach program. And when I did their program, within the first month, in order to train to be a coach, you actually have to do the exercises. So I was doing a lot of the exercises that they were training us on how to teach our clients. And within 1 month, through complete accident, I recognized who my twin flame was in my life. I had no idea. And when I recognized who he was, it started me on another research journey, analytical journey of trying to understand my life and why I am here. And the little things that happened with him helped me to really understand that I have such a passion for love, for pure love, for soul love. And because of my journey with him and my own journey, I started to understand why people get married to maybe not the best mate at the point in time they get married, possibly more in their 20s, and what is really necessary in order to attract in a soul person into your life. So that is how I became a love coach, and I'm really passionate about it. I really want women to be with a partner who nourishes them, where they could both grow and thrive in their relationship.
Excellent, lovely. So a great story that. And you mentioned there the word twin flame. Now I know what that is. I'm on that path. So what to you differentiates the term twin flame from, let's say, is it the same as a soulmate? Is it the same as a divine counterpart from what your understanding is?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm so excited you're on that path. I'm really passionate about it. Okay, so a twin flame is the same soul split into two. So it's one soul split into two, and because of that, you have the same exact internal frequency as the other part of your flame. It's like a yin and yang. It's different to a soulmate in that a soulmate vibrates close to your same internal frequency, but not on your same internal frequency. And a soulmate can actually be anyone. It could be your mother, sister, best friend. Your soul tribe is really a tribe of people within your soul
family.
soul tribe or soul clan, right? So that is how I explain it. I do believe the divine is on the twin flame as well. That is what I believe. If it's different, well, that's cool. But that is what I believe. But I really, because of my own journey on the twin flame journey, it is so clear to me how you both vibrate on the same internal frequency, and things that you do as a woman. I assume your audience is mostly women. I'm not
Yes,
sure. Okay, right. But so things that you
mainly.
do as a woman, whether whatever he's doing, wherever he is busy ignoring you because they do those things, they say horrible things to you, but you actually have the power to activate his awakening into his true power on this earth. So that is what a twin flame is for me,
Yeah,
based on my turmoil and
I'm
research, I might add.
yeah, I feel similar thoughts around what that is myself, and I've discussed it on other episodes for anybody that's interested in finding out more information around twin flames. There are other episodes within the collection that actually go into that in more detail. So the actual topic of how to magnify that soul love, where do you start with that then, Shri?
Yes, so my target audience is usually women above 35. And the reason for this is in our 20s, our brain is still developing and we are still in a sort of people pleasing mode. We still want to please our parents. We still live more in alignment with societal values and what we think um, the societal model should be and how that reflects in our lives. And we still want to really create an environment that is, I guess, less conflict, less contentious within the persons closest to us. So you may find if you have a partner during that time, especially during your 20s and possibly early 30s, the attraction to that partner can be more around what other people would deem the ideal partner, right? So, like if you're religious, they may want to, like if you marry a pastor, that's great. Or in my religion, if you marry a pundit, that's great, or from that family. Or if he has a very well paying job, there are qualities about the partner that at the back of your mind, it may not be conscious, but you really try to fulfill on what you were taught an ideal partner should be within that time. After 35, in the 30s, the woman really starts to understand who she is as a person on this earth, and then she starts to question with, is this really me? Do I really want this? Is this my life? Is this who I want to be? Like for me in particular, I worked in corporate and now I'm doing love coaching. So in the 30s is really where a woman starts to figure out who she is, and then depending on the partner she has at that point in time, he may no longer suit being a partner on her life path, on her soul's path. And so what I realize from clients is they have to clear a lot of the emotional baggage or data within their bodies from that first 20 to 30 years of life, where things would have hurt them, things would have prevented them from really being who they are. A lot of what we go through in childhood, a lot of the programming that we get that puts us down, all of those things affect us whether or not we know it, and they shape our self-image within our 30s, which is referred to as more the false self. They shape a self-image which actually drives who you choose. So in my respectful opinion, if you don't go through that deconstruction of that self-image and really stepping into who you are, sorry, you can risk getting into cycles of relationships where maybe you leave an unfulfilled marriage or an unfulfilled partnership, but you just end up with another unfulfilled partnership. So in order to magnetize the soul love, what I do with my clients is a lot of emotional work. So I use NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and I do a lot of clearing for anything that hurts them, conscious or unconscious, because sometimes things come up in sessions. For anything that hurt them, a lot of people have heard from childhood, things parents told them, things teachers told them, way friends made them feel, ideals they saw like in magazines given when we grew up and in the media. So I would work on that energetic clearing, and I also work on your perception of what you are perceiving, because a lot of times we make up stories that aren't true, they aren't factual, but we imagine things to be a certain way, and because of that you find it playing out in that way. The mind is actually very, very powerful in terms of creating our reality. So another thing I do with my clients, which is important in magnetizing and soul love, is watching how you are perceiving reality and making sure you are always ensuring your perception is always in your favor. It's positive for you. The other thing I work on specifically is your beliefs, both your conscious and your unconscious beliefs. Our brain is 95% our subconscious brain and 5% our conscious brain. And the unconscious part actually drives our life. And we don't know it. So just think of the unconscious part as all the data. Think of it like a computer system storing every single thing you have ever experienced in your life, which you probably forgot most of, but those patterns and those beliefs still drive your reality. So I work with clients as well to help reprogram the subconscious brain, the subconscious part, and that usually takes care of the beliefs you have about yourself that are not so good, believing that you can't have anything, that you're not chosen, that you're not worthy. It works through those beliefs, and also your conscious mind, like being aware of your thoughts and what your thoughts are creating in your life. One of the main things I find is that persons are not aware of how they speak to themselves. A lot of us, without knowing it, put down ourselves daily. Like something might happen and we may say, gosh, I should have known better. Or, gosh, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? But all of those things affect the reality we create. So the more you are able to perceive things are in your favor, the more you are able to drive unconscious brain patterns that lead to you creating the reality you want. And on an emotional level, the more you are able to stay in a higher vibration, those three things together lead to you being your most authentic self. And your most authentic self is actually what attracts your soulmate or twin flame into your life, because they are also seeking that authenticity.
Yeah, I've actually read recently, and I didn't sort of question it, which I might have done sort of years ago had I not done so much work on myself. But I actually recently read that authenticity is a higher vibration than love itself, and quite a significantly higher vibration than love. Have you heard of that?
I did hear of that. I just think it helps you to vibrate at a level that holds in everything that you want. I do believe at heart we are all love. I do believe love is one of the highest vibrations. There is a map of consciousness by Dr. Stephen Hawkins. I guess it's kind of older, but that one does have love higher up. I don't recall seeing authenticity on it, but I think that is more of a new age thinking that authenticity is higher. But it doesn't really matter. Once you're in that realm, you're on the path for magnetizing and actually whatever you want. But I just concentrate on the soul love.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a time where I would have sort of questioned that and actually said, though, no, I believe love is the highest frequency. But then when I really thought about it, I thought, maybe that's true, the authenticity, because it's being, everything to yourself, isn't it? It's being true to and accepting what you look like, what you sound like, regardless of size, sexual orientation, ability, but totally, just being comfortable with being totally who you are in your own unique skin.
Yes, 100%.
And I think that, for me, when I thought about it, I thought, yeah, I can believe that would be a higher frequency that we could be operating from than the frequency of love. So yeah, interesting.
Yes, yeah. That actually, when you put it like that, when you say it out like that, it does make sense that it would be higher.
You mentioned neuro linguistic programming, NLP, and I'm familiar with that. I've been trained in that, but just give the audience a little bit of an insight as to what that means in layman's terms.
Well, the neuro-linguistic programming, it's really how you are seeing things. I guess in layman terms would be like how you are seeing things and visualizing things within your mind. So when I work with clients, what I would do is I would connect. I go to their emotion first, like what they are feeling and where they feel it in their body, where it feels contracted. And usually, if you get the client to really sit with the feeling and honor it and love it and know it's just a form of intelligence, usually you can ask, are you seeing a color? Are you seeing a shape? Are you seeing a size? Anything like that. And depending on what they say, how I would use the neurolinguistic programming is to remove the feeling from their mind um, with visualization. So let's say the client closes their eyes and they say when they feel this heartbreak, they feel it in their chest area and it's just very dark when they concentrate on it and it's gloomy and it's cloudy. Then I would do a visualization with them to release, just see the cloudiness taking up space outside of their body, allowing it to leave their body. And I would let them, probably depending on the client, I would use a light they prefer or possibly white light, and I will take them through visualization to see that light enter their heart space, maybe green as it is the heart. And that actually helps the client to clear that feeling outside of their body, which may not even happen there, is that heartbreak. And then once we get the feeling under 5 out of 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would ask them how intense it is. Usually there is some intuitive message coming from it, however you refer to that, from the universe, divine master. And through that message, I would use that to then have a conversation with them around how they can move forward. So it really is using visualization techniques and understanding how the mind works and how the mind is perceiving what is going on in the body, using that in order, in my opinion, to clear emotional hurt and to help with moving forward from that space.
Yeah, because quite often it's our thoughts, which we're not, unless you've done a lot of work on yourself, you're not really aware quite often how you're talking to yourself until you sort of go on a journey of learning to be more aware and more conscious of actually what am I saying to myself, and is it serving me? Is it serving my highest good? Am I beating myself up unnecessarily? And those thoughts drive our actions and behaviors, be that good, bad, or indifferent, don't they?
Yes, most definitely. And that is the perception that I was referring to earlier, how we are perceiving things that emanates from that thinking. What are you thinking of?
So powerful, like you say, and I've, as I said, studied it and teach it myself, and realized the power of actually becoming more aware. I think there's a good book out actually that I can't remember the exact title, but it's something like "What to Say When You Talk to Yourself," and I thought
Oh,
that was a
wow.
good title.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, most of us are just on that autopilot and letting life happen to us rather than, through us.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is actually something I suggest my clients do. Like in front of the mirror, I would tell them to go on a rant on why you're so awesome and why you're so beautiful and why you deserve everything you want. And they have actually like when I tell them like with their husbands or if they're looking for love, what I tell them to say, well, I don't tell them what to say, but when I tell them to do it, they have actually told me that things they have said, other people would come back and reflect it to them. Like if they're in a partnership, the husband would say exactly what they said, or if they're still looking for love, but someone in the office might say, wow, you look real beautiful today. And so it has such power in creating our reality, and how what we see reflected in our life. Self-talk is really, really powerful.
Absolutely, because our beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. And I give the example usually that, if a woman thinks that all men are cheaters and she goes into the next relationship with that mindset, then she's likely to create that self-fulfilling prophecy for herself through her own thoughts and behaviors, isn't she?
Yes, oh gosh, 100%. And I actually work with women like that, because the reason you think something like that is because at heart you don't feel chosen. Because if at heart you feel chosen, you would know if you met your guy, he would have no choice but to want you, to look at you, to not want and to not fantasize about anyone else. But once you're going into relationships with that kind of thinking, all men are cheaters, all men are dogs, there are no good men out there, you are going to create that for yourself.
Yeah. So if you're going to create a great self-fulfilling prophecy, it's best to reframe that and focus on something you want, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yes, and that is also something I work with my clients on, because all of that is perception. It's not real, it's just your perception. And all of that again has to do with where you're vibrating on emotionally, where your vibration is, your thoughts and your beliefs.
So what would you say to somebody that says, well, I do believe that all men are cheaters. That's been my experience, and if I try and reframe it, it doesn't sound as though I'm being honest with myself.
Yeah, so how we treat with that is we say something like, I am beginning to believe more and more each day that there are men out there for me. So you don't go straight to I believe there are, because if it doesn't feel true to you, then it would be harder for you to ingest that. So I would tell someone to say I'm beginning to believe more and more each day, or I'm starting to believe, or I'm beginning to trust that I will find. So, and when you start with the beginning, then eventually you could go to I believe.
Yeah, it's about like drip feeding the mind, isn't it? With something that does feel more, I suppose, authentic to yourself is the
Yes,
word
yes,
there. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Until it becomes
definitely.
something you can, like you say, absolutely reframe, and gradually it does become a conviction after some time, doesn't it? That you don't
Yes.
challenge at all because it's a positive, empowering belief you now have.
Yeah, and it's deeper too, because a lot of times those things come from something we witness or something we believe, and that is why I like doing the emotional part of it, like scanning your body to see where in your body lies this belief, and doing that clearing as well. I find that that helps. Sometimes this is something in NLP, just asking what age is this belief, and you get something from 6 or 7, and then they remember something that happened. So there are a lot of ways um, to treat with the negative, so-called negative beliefs, but it is so important to transcend them in order to magnetize and soul love.
Mm, such a fascinating topic. So, how do you manage clients who might say, well, I find it hard to visualize because we're not all visual creatures, are we? And some people might find I'm not a visual person. I find it difficult to visualize. Is there a way around that?
Um, well, if I actually have never had someone say it's difficult, because I really paint the picture. I really try my best to paint the picture. But just everyone can visualize light. That is basic. Everyone can visualize the sun. And most everyone, I would ask, do you rather beach? Do you rather garden? What is your happy place? And usually when you start with that, with something they already know, not the abstract. So I wouldn't go to the abstract one time, which would sound strange to them. But I would start with something they could, yes, I could visualize myself on a beach. Yes, I could see the sun. Yes, I could see the clouds. Yes, I could see a man walking with his dog. So I start with something they could relate to. And then as I go on, depending on what I'm asking them to visualize, I find I would keep breathing. So breathing is important. I would keep breathing, and I would ask, okay, can you see whatever? And I would ask, are you able to see that, or does that resonate? And I really kind of hold the client's hand in order to help them to visualize what I'm asking. But that is how I would deal with it. I would start with something they know off the bat, yes, they could picture themselves there. They could already see this. And then I would go to something more abstract.
Right. Excellent. Love the way you explain that. So, yeah, because I do feel, these processes are really powerful. And just to emphasize, these are usually closed eye processes that we take people through, aren't they?
Yes, yes. Your eyes are closed so I always start with the breathing. I always start with some sort of breathing to get you into the present moment. And I keep them breathing. Like, even if they say they're having trouble, I'll just be, okay, just keep breathing. Like, just yesterday, I had someone who, when we came to the message, she didn't get anything. And I was like, okay, well, let's just keep breathing. Let's just give permission for the message to come. And after a while, she got it. So I would keep them with the breathing and keep with the visualization and kind of hold their hands straight through the visualization.
Excellent. So for anybody that's listening, Shri, and that is interested in reaching out to you, what's your best contact information?
Well, I would invite them to look me up on Facebook. I have a private group, Magnetise Soul Love, and you could get to me through there. Please answer all the questions to be let into the group, but it's free support. And once you're in there, if you have any question, I actually answer it free of charge. I do a lot of lives, and you can get on to me otherwise from there.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So any final words about how to magnetize, I should say, soul love to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I would do one thing I would say is to just believe. I got very disenchanted with love, and now I know its power, I know its presence, and I have actually felt it myself. And I would love for every woman to actually feel so connected to someone that it is literally out of this world. And it starts with just believing that it's there for you and it's possible for you.
Yeah, because I think unfortunately these days a lot of people poo-poo, high level love has been, it's just a fairy tale. It's all make believe, and nobody can really live that. But I don't believe that's true. I believe you can live that.
Me too, 100% wholeheartedly.
Oh, good. They're on the same page there then, Cherie. Thank you so much for coming on today and explaining a lot to do with how to magnetize soul love. It's been a really inspiring conversation.
Thank you so much, Lyn. I truly appreciate you, and to your audience, sending a lot of love and blessings to you as well.
Okay, so it just leaves me to say that true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group Two Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.